So I'm not going to give you all the statistics that lead you to get very frightened about what's going to happen with the idea that that will motivate you to act, because I'm sure you've heard that many, many times before. I have. Because in some way, it seems to me completely obvious why we should take care of the earth and the environment. And I wonder why I even have to talk about it. It's like if you live in a house and the house is filthy and it's moldy and it's filled with junk and crud, are you going to be healthy? All of us know, of course not. Do you clean your house because you want to stay well and you don't want to, have to breathe in all sorts of pollutants and trip over garbage when you're walking from one room to the other? Yeah, you clean your house. It's kind of obvious, isn't it? So if we apply this to the whole world, because we don't just live in our house, we live in the whole world, then it seems that we human beings should just automatically take care of our environment because it's the place we live in. And that's not even considering, that we share the planet with millions and zillions of other living beings in the sky, under the sea, in the ant hills, so many other living beings, such that we're actually the minority population on the earth. But we're the major polluter, aren't we human beings? So it would seem natural, if you're the minority population, but you ruin the planet the most, that you should pitch in and try and stop doing that and reverse it. Okay? So these things just somehow seem obvious to me. But we human beings aren't doing that. Yeah? And why? Why? I think one thing is that we just look at how things are right now and we say, well, the house isn't too dirty. I'll clean it later. You all know that, don't you? On Saturday, after working the whole week, you're tired. On Saturday morning, you're supposed to clean. I'll do it later. So we look at how we clean the environment and care for the environment in the same way. I'll do it later. Yeah, it's not so bad. Other generations, all the young people, they're so bright and talented and enthusiastic about the environment. We'll leave it for them to fix it. Okay, that's our ignorance. Yeah, that doesn't realize what things are happening right now. And then also there's our self-centeredness. Why should I do it? Yes, we should. All of us should take care of the environment and limit emissions and not, waste so much. But everybody's doing it. Why should I sacrifice my happiness and pleasure when everybody's doing it? Yeah. And we all need fossil fuels. We're thirsty for them. Our economy depends on fossil fuels. If we don't have them, what's going to happen to the economy? Then we're all going to really suffer. So we better not change anything. Okay? So we have, quite a self-centered attitude about this, that, if it's inconvenient for me, and if it means that I'm going to be not even suffering from it, but inconvenienced by it, then why should I do it? We human beings do this in many, many areas of our life. Our personal lives, as well as how our country relates to things, as well as a global community, how we relate to things. So there's something in our attitude that we really need to look at and fix. because the reality is that we all share the planet, and pollution doesn't stop at the borders. Okay, pollution, it's in the sky, it goes everywhere, whether our country creates it or not, whether we create it or not. Yeah. And so if we expect other people to regulate themselves because their pollution could adversely affect us, then it only makes sense that we regulate ourselves so our pollution doesn't affect them. So I'm really glad that in Biden's new infrastructure bill, he's really investing a lot in new power technology with wind, solar, whatever. So that's really good. Yeah. But our companies need to change, and we have this mentality that we always have to grow. Yeah, I find that interesting. The economy, if it just stays as it is now, that's considered bad. It has to continually increase. Yeah. But how can you continually increase when, there's only so much land, so we can only have so much population, and there's only so many resources, and they run out. So somehow how we think of the economy and the importance of growth, we have to change that more to really see how interdependent we are and to care about ourselves and our own family, but not only that, care about all the living beings, because I can't even say we're all in this boat together. We're all on this planet together. So we've really got to cooperate and change our ways, and not predicated on all cut back on emissions. If you do, and you do it first, then I'll do it. Okay. No, we can't think like that. We have to think, this is something that's important. I commit to do it because it's the right thing to do and it's important. And I care about all the other living beings on the planet. And then if we show that, and there's a sense of compassion for others behind it, there's a sense of our own ethical integrity that is motivating us to do this, then others will follow suit. If they don't follow suit, at least we're helping. Yeah. So we shouldn't predicate our help on other people's help, and they're doing it first. We have to do it first because we see that it's necessary and important and valuable. Okay. And so this can become, in Buddhist terms, it can become a process of learning renunciation. Yeah, one of the first three principal aspects of the path, that we are, and renunciation doesn't mean you give up pleasure. It means you give up suffering. You renounce suffering, so you renounce the causes of suffering, okay? So we're willing to give a few things up in order to have a cleaner world and help ourselves and help others. It becomes a practice of compassion and bodhicitta, the second of the three principal aspects of the path, because we do it for all sentient beings, because we all are in this together. Yeah. And we have responsibility for future generations, not only of human beings, but of the future generations of all the different species. And it becomes a practice of wisdom, the third principal aspects of the path, because we want to abandon polluting the world. We want to practice with wisdom to create other sources of energy, to be a considerate neighbor. Okay, so we're wise about what to practice and abandon. And, we see the wisdom in this situation. going back to the second one about it being a practice of compassion and bodhicitta, I was just reading that the last man of the Yuma tribe in the Amazon died. So now that whole tribe is extinct. He had 2 daughters who have married with people in a neighboring tribe, yeah, and they're still remembering their Yuma heritage. Yuma is spelled Juma, yeah. They're still remembering it, yeah, but the Brazilian government, is very much taking away the lands of the indigenous people and not protecting them from COVID. So many of the indigenous people in the Amazon are suffering and are dying from COVID. And the reason for this is because the industry in the country wants to go and plant crops there and mine the land for minerals, get the trees, and so on and so forth. And so this is a direct example of the effect of our impervious attitude towards climate change and towards protecting the environment. That right here and now, different indigenous tribes are going extinct. Yeah. So we may say, well, that again, are self-centered. That's them. Us, we're too numerous. We're not going to go extinct. Well, the indigenous tribes, 2 centuries ago or 1 century ago, were very plentiful and thousands of people, and things can die out very quickly. So let's take care of each other and all the living beings by taking care of the place where we live. And let's take it as our own responsibility to do that.